It has become a familiar scene. Egyptian citizens flooding the streets, demanding their inalienable rights. Well, like I predicted and warned time and time again, Egyptian President Morsi and his Muslim Brotherhood have no desire to expand the freedom of its citizens. They want and are about to implement Sharia law. Today, thousands again hit the streets and chanted "Freedom or die," and they are protesting the seizure of nearly unrestricted powers by the nation's Islamist president in his draft constitution. Now, what you are looking at is Egypt's worst explosion of protesters since the ousting of Hosni Mubarak almost 2 years ago. Now, as the world watches a country that sits on the brink of coming under fundamentalist Sharia law, where women have no rights, no protection from the government, I hear one thing from the usually deafening voices of liberal women's groups: silence. Where are the Sandra Flux of the world? Is birth control the only defining issue of the U.S. feminist movement? What a double standard we are now witnessing. Joining me now for Act for America, the president, Brigitte Gabriel, and Islamic Studies professor at Georgia State University, Abbas Barzagar. Guys, welcome to the program. Thank you for being here. Brigitte, this is amazing. We go through a whole election, Republican, war on women. They don't want to pay for women's birth control. We know what life for women is like under Sharia. In Saudi Arabia, they can't drive. Under the Taliban, they couldn't go to school or to work. We see the stoning of women. Women in Saudi Arabia, they need 4 male eyewitnesses for rape. All of this is happening. Where's the women's movement in this country now while Sharia is about to be implemented? Where's Obama, the champion of women's rights here?
Because the Obama administration and the left in this country believed so much that the Muslim Brotherhood is a very moderate movement, and the leader Morsi is a very moderate statesman. And this is why they do not believe that implementing Sharia law is going to oppress women in Egypt. It's like burying their head in the sand, refusing to accept reality and admit that everything that they believed about the Muslim Brotherhood and Morsi is a lie. And for them to admit that, it will force them to come up with different solutions to what we're facing in Egypt, and they're not ready to face it.
And we're funding them. That's another side. Abbas, let me go to you. Here you have Morsi. Yes. First the Muslim Brotherhood said they weren't going to run. They ran. Then they got into power. They targeted Israel first, declaring them the #1 enemy. Now Morsi has taken over the military. Now he's implementing Sharia law. Is this something that's going to be good for the Egyptian people?
Well, you know, Sean, we're going through a revolution in Egypt, and we're watching a revolution. In revolutions, the old regime usually gets purged. So Morsi first took out the old cronies from the military, and now he's doing the same thing to the judiciary.
So the radical Islamist is now coming to power.
You know, he's consolidating his power base, and that's normal in the history of revolutions. There's really nothing strange.
But no.
Actually,
he's now implementing Sharia law.
I don't know what that means, to implement Sharia law.
Well, look at countries where it's implemented.
Yeah, that's not going to happen in Egypt.
Oh, no?
And actually, people aren't protesting Sharia law in Egypt right now. They're protesting the expansion of the executive powers. There isn't a protest about Sharia law in Egypt.
But there's a constitution that is about to implement. Brigitte, you understand Sharia law as well as anybody I know. And what will life be like for women under Sharia?
It's going to be very difficult, but our guest here has a point, because the majority of people in Egypt are not protesting against Morsi and Sharia law. They are actually for it. And this past Saturday, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets of Egypt in support of Sharia law and the Constitution. What we are seeing right now on the street is only the minority. In Giza, in Alexandria, all over Egypt, throughout the cities on Saturday, they came out in support of the new policy of adopting Islamic law, Sharia law, into the Constitution.
But here's a
point.
They
do not believe it is bad.
It's been there since 1971. It's been there since 1971. There's nothing being changed about that. That's been there since 1971.
Yes,
that's not the issue.
It is being more radicalized. It is being more radicalized under Morsi. They added amendments to certain versions of the Constitution, and this is what the people are protesting.
They simply defined who gets to interpret it. All they did is change and clarify who gets to interpret that clause.
I got a question for you, Abbas.
Giving the interpretation to the radical imams.
The
radical imams right now
are being
very much in control.
Go ahead.
I got a question.
America's moved past this. America has moved past this hate speech. I mean, there's no radical demon monster Muslims out there.
Excuse me. Radical Islamists want a worldwide caliphate. And Morsi, along with Hamas, the Palestinian wing of the Muslim Brotherhood, that has in their charter the call for the destruction of Israel. And Morsi and his government supported Hamas and their recent attacks on Israel. They've recently been meeting with the Iranians. So you don't see that a radicalized Islamic Sharia state under Morsi is a danger to the entire region and the world? You don't see that as fanaticism?
Radical jihadists, Islamists, those are everybody's enemy, and those are the Muslim Brotherhood's enemies. You've got the spectrum.
The Muslim Brotherhood is them.
It's not your fault. No, that's not true. That's not true. It's not them. They've been fighting for 30, 40 years. I keep telling you this, but this is just simply not true. Anybody who knows the region knows that this isn't the case.
You obviously don't know what you're talking about. I'll give the last word.
The Muslim Brotherhood is a very radical organization, and they assassinated President Saddam.
I mean, look, I understand Islamic politics. I wrote a book about it. You can read it. It's called Islamism from Stanford University Press. Okay, the Muslim Brotherhood are considered wimps when it comes to political Islam. Nobody in the radical groups actually respect them. They actually hate them.
Last word, Brigitte.
This is why they're becoming very powerful, and this is why they have 70 offshoot Islamic organizations in the world, including Al-Qaeda and Hamas. And this is how they're recruiting and growing.
That's a lie.
They are a very dangerous organization.
You are lying to your audience. You are lying to your audience.
And coming up, Liberal Talk Radio once again, stupid.